Hello there guys, welcome to today's video. Now before I get into the topics of the video, I just want to bring attention to something that I think is very important. Football Therapy, Yannick, I'm sure many of you guys watch him, fellow Chelsea YouTuber, has set up a fundraiser to help the NHS during this difficult time. Anything you can give to help the fundraiser is very much appreciated. I've already done it myself. Link will be in the description box below. The people working in the NHS are heroes. They're going to be the ones fighting this problem and saving lives. So any help is greatly appreciated. Thank you. As I say, link will be in the description box below. Anything you can give would be massive. So thank you. Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. And even though we are in lockdown, we're going to keep on talking about Chelsea. And I just want to thank you once again for your support on recent videos. We're getting closer to 5k subs each day, so hopefully that goal will be hit soon. But let's get into it, because two transfer stories, one I was surprised by and one that a name we've known for a long time now that Chelsea are interested in. So let's get into it. Firstly, Sky Sports last night reporting that Declan Rice is a player Chelsea are interested in signing from West Ham. The Blues are keen to strengthen with a defensive midfielder if the transfer window goes ahead this summer, and are admirers of the England international. As I said before I read that, I am surprised by this link, to be honest. Firstly, because as I've stated before, I don't feel Chelsea need to strengthen in midfield. It is the one area Chelsea don't need major investment in. And as well, as I'm going to argue, I think we've got better players and players, younger players as well. I think Chelsea should be investing their time in and energy into, rather than investing in a player who is young, who could potentially be a really good player in the future. In Declan Rice, so I think he's got a lot of good attributes. He's really impressive. Pep Guardiola apparently is an admirer of him as well, and it's no surprise. And I saw a lot of people on social media just rubbishing this instantly, and sort of dismissing Rice as a good player and potentially a good signing. And as I'll get into, I think there are reasons why Chelsea would want to make this signing happen. But firstly, we've got Jorginho, who I think is a better player. In the prime of his career. And still, I think, can offer a lot to Chelsea, even though recently there's been some talk about him potentially leaving. With Gilmour coming into the side, we can't dismiss Jorginho. I think Jorginho is a class player, and we know what Jorginho is capable of on his best day. As well, we've got N'Golo Kante. If he can get back to his fitness, the best defensive midfielder in the world, in my opinion. He is absolutely astonishing at his best. So once again, shouldn't discard him. And of course, Billy Gilmour. The future is with Billy Gilmour. We've seen what he's done recently. Hopefully, he can only grow from strength to strength. And as well, Ethan Ampadu. We've talked about him a lot on the channel, about him coming back as a centre-back, but we know he can play in central midfield. In fact, he's played a lot for Chelsea in the brief glimpses we've got of him, has played in central midfield and has done a great job there. So both Ampadu and Gilmour are definitely the future and potentially have a higher ceiling than Declan Rice. Yes, there's that link to Mason Mount, and I could see Lampard wanting with Tammy, Mason, Reece, Fikayo Tomori, all these players who know each other and have grown up together. I think that's potentially a good link, and having players who play together in the England side as well is good. But once again, I feel that if we're focusing on key areas this summer and we need to go in there and strengthen areas, I don't feel Rice and central midfield is an area that's really required. The only way I could see this still happening is if one of the central midfielders I've talked about leaves. If Jorginho leaves, if N'Golo Kante leaves, if even Ross Barkley, and we get a decent fee for him, leaves, then maybe that could open the door for a Declan Rice. But right now, I'm not sure. I think Chelsea may want to pounce on West Ham struggles. West Ham can still get relegated. I mean, that's why Karen Brady wants the season to be finished and be cancelled, basically, because West Ham could still get relegated. And if they get relegated to the Championship, Declan Rice is going to be leaving, and it could be for a lower fee than if they stay up in the Premier League, couldn't it? So Chelsea may want to pounce. They may want to look at this and go, a big club's going to come in for him eventually. Let's make sure we are the ones to get his signature, because if we wait, Manchester City could pounce, Man United, all these clubs could go in for Rice, get his signature, and then we lose a big player who could potentially turn out to be one of the best midfielders in England in the coming years. And that English core that Lampard's maybe trying to build within the Chelsea side, Rice can definitely strengthen that. He has attributes within his game, even if he has struggled this year, maybe being a little bit more physical in central midfield, which is something you could argue Chelsea haven't had this season a lot. We can get maybe out-muscled in that area, so Rice could add that. But I still don't think this is going to happen. I still think that Chelsea's priorities should be elsewhere, but it could happen. Don't rule anything out. And if Frank Lampard really craves this player, then Chelsea should back him. But personally, in my opinion, I don't think it's a requirement to sign Declan Rice this summer. And next is a player we have spoken about a lot, and that is Ben Chilwell, the left back from Leicester. This is from Nizar Kinsella in goal. He says that Chelsea face battle over Chilwell transfer fee as Lampard's left back search continues. Leicester will demand a huge fee for Chilwell, as they did for Harry Maguire, whom they sold for a world record 80 million fee to Manchester United in 2019. The fee for Harry Maguire is a point I made in my video on Saturday about transfers and why Ben Chilwell, I think, will be a struggle to sign. Leicester are not going to mess about. And I think as well, it's so unpredictable at the moment, isn't it? But you look at Harry Maguire, he didn't get a pre-season with Manchester United really at all, did he? He came in quite late. That transfer just stagnated, it went on for so long. Eventually, Man United got their man, but still, it was a very high fee. And the comparison, of course, that's made in this article, as we've all made in terms of other targets, is Alex Telles from Porto. Leicester are going to be tough negotiators. They can offer Champions League football. And if you look at Chelsea's best signings in recent years, really high fees haven't been at the forefront of them. Release clauses have been at the forefront of Chelsea's best signings. Probably Chelsea's two best signings over the last, 5, 6 years have been because of smart release clauses that Chelsea have pounced on, and that was for N'Golo Kante and Diego Costa. For a similar fee that Alex Telles could be for a release clause for about 42 million, it looks like, and looks so enticing. When you compare both players, I wanted to compare both players. It's interesting. Chilwell is maybe a little bit better defensively than Alex Telles. He's won more tackles per game. He's made more clearances per game, won more headers per game. But when you compare them offensively, it's a very different story. Alex Telles, 8 goals, 5 assists, whilst Ben Chilwell has 2 goals and 3 assists. You do need to take into comparison, Porto are a very dominant side, and the Portuguese league is very different to the Premier League. There would not be that adaptation period for Ben Chilwell if he was to move to Chelsea. He knows the Premier League, he's played in the Premier League, he's getting better in the Premier League, whilst Alex Telles, as we've seen with some foreign players who come over to the Premier League, it does take them a little bit of time to adjust to that league, and you could see those struggles. But in terms of the reality of the deal potentially happening, Telles definitely looks more realistic, or looks more enticing, and I think that's why Chelsea could go down that route if Leicester's price of maybe upwards of 80 million, which in the current market, fees went ridiculous a long time ago. But you could understand why Chelsea would sort of maybe get a little bit scared of that fee and think to themselves, we can potentially get a better player here in Alex Telles for a cheaper fee. There's been other left backs linked as well. And as well, fees for other players in other areas too, goalkeeper, right wing, striker. If, we can get a cheaper left back in Alex Telles, that then frees up more money to spend on areas like right wing for maybe a Jadon Sancho, that's a positive, isn't it? And I'm sure that would excite fans, wouldn't it? So those are my opinions on Ben Chilwell. I don't, I'm not it's not the Declan Rice situation. I do believe Ben Chilwell can be a fantastic player, as he has been for Leicester this season. That is a key area. That is the most vital area for me this summer. Chelsea need to improve at left back. They need to sign a left back. They need to sign one that can not only help out defensively, but add pace and energy to that side, as it's been lacking so much recently. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because it is an ongoing debate. My personal preference is not even Ben Chilwell or Alex Telles. My personal preference is Alex Grimaldo, which I explain why in my video, transfer video the other day. You can go and check it out. But what are your opinions? Do you really like Ben Chilwell? Do you think Chelsea should go out there and, even if the fee is extortionate, sign Ben Chilwell? Or should they be smarter, go for a release clause like they have before with Alex Telles, and sign a player that could potentially be a better fit for Chelsea than Chilwell? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.